Um, just going to start off here by taking a look at the current National Weather Service watch warning and advisory map, and you can see overall it's relatively quiet. Most of the advisories and warnings right now are related to temperatures. Over the Northeast and Great Lakes, we have a number of areas that are under um, freeze warnings and frost advisories. We have some unseasonably cold air that's come down into the Northeast, and we have actually had a few record lows in the Great Lakes the last couple days. Um, in the Southwest, we have a number of heat advisories and excessive heat warnings in effect as the unseasonably warm air mass has been building in there with a number of record high temperatures being set out there. And we'll take a look at the actual temperatures here in a minute in both areas. And in between, across the northern and parts of the central plains, the pink we see there is red flag warnings for enhanced fire danger, continued dry conditions across much of the plains, especially the central and northern plains, the last several days, and getting some gusty winds and dry conditions today, resulting in some elevated fire danger. We look at the actual temperatures right now. Um, we can see, as we were talking about, it's pretty cool in the Northeast here. We can see daytime temperatures currently in the upper 40s across the northern Great Lakes and parts of upstate New York, 50s, even as far south as parts of Northeast Ohio. We contrast that with out west, where um, in the desert Southwest, we're looking at temperatures well above 100. Um, looks like we're uh, around 106 here in Phoenix metro area. Some of the areas out here in the deserts, Colorado River Basin, 111 here north of Yuma. Lots of 105 to 111 here across the California deserts. And even as we go up here into some of the valleys around the LA area, got a 96 here north of Riverside, and really up here in the San Joaquin Valley, um, looking at some temperatures well up into the 90s, and we'll see some spots hitting 100 in this part of the country as well over the next, not only today, but into tomorrow as well. So um, basically, if we look at the what we're expecting for the weather pattern going forward the next several days, I got to get the right map up here. Um, I'm looking at now here at 500 millibars, which is about 18,000 feet up in the atmosphere, and looking at kind of the way the flow is. You can see here currently we have this upper level trough of low pressure that I'm highlighting with my cursor over the Great Lakes and Northeast, which is resulting in the colder than normal air up there, whereas we have this large area of high pressure across the western United States, um, which is providing the warmth out there. And as we go through time, we're going to see another area of upper level low pressure drop into the Northeast and Great Lakes at the middle of the week, which is going to reinforce the cool air there, whereas the upper level high pressure area will start to shift east, bringing warmer air into the middle part of the country. Eventually, that next upper level trough in the east is finally going to lift out and be replaced by upper level um, high pressure by late this weekend and into early next week, which is finally going to bring a warming trend to the eastern part of the country, which has been seeing some prolonged cool weather the last couple of weeks for the most part. Obviously, there's been some warmer periods, but overall temperatures have been below normal to start off May across the Northeast and Mid Atlantic. Whereas we look out west, we can see that the overall high pressure system that we have early this week starts to break down by early next week. Um, and eventually we see just kind of a weak trough of low pressure looking to form out there in about 10 days, while the upper level high continues to establish itself over the east. So if we look at actual temperature anomalies, um, we can see here the low level cold air across the Great Lakes and Northeast, the low level warm air across the west. And as we go to start of the weekend, we can see that the warm air really starts to expand across much of the country. It's still a little bit of lingering cooler air here in the right along the East Coast, and we have a new surge of colder air coming into the Pacific Northwest. As we go into early next week, that cooler air shifts into the northern and central plains, whereas unusually warm air really builds over the east. Temperatures about 8 to 10 C above normal in the lower levels of the atmosphere. And I'm not going to go beyond 10 days because that's as far out as I want to, as I feel comfortable showing. But you can see that generally speaking, once we get past this cool air this week, that overall it looks like for the next 10 to 14 days, much of the eastern half of the country looks to shift to a warmer than normal pattern. Whereas the western part of the US, after this warm week this week, we'll see kind of more of a changeable pattern where there'll be some shots of colder air coming in, but then we can see by the end of the 10-day period a new wave of unseasonably warm conditions starting to build along the west coast. So just talking about precipitation at a very high level for the next 10 days, we can see that um, overall conditions look to be pretty dry for much of the country for the upcoming week. This is the actual precipitation anomaly, so showing how much above or below normal the precipitation is. And you can see most of the country looks pretty dry this week. One exception being right along the Gulf Coast and in northern Florida, which is an area that can definitely use the precipitation, as well as up here over New England, where these disturbances moving southeast out of Canada, reinforcing that cool air mass for the rest of the week, will bring some showers. Um, but again, for most of the country, the next this week looks pretty dry, and as we go into the following week, that still is the case, but we do start to see some signs of potential increased precipitation from the south central states, from like Texas up into mid Mississippi Valley. So we'll be watching to see if we get a little more activity there. Just primarily, it looks to me like at this point it would just be because we're going to start to see warm and humid air continuing to surge north, and as disturbances come through the western part of the country, we should start to see some shower and thunderstorm activity breaking out across the middle part of the country by next week. So, just want to show here, as far as record temperatures for the upcoming week. We can see this is the Weather Prediction Center's forecast of record highs and lows based on official Weather Service forecast. And you can see we're basically looking at a number of potential record highs today in the West. Um, that continues tomorrow. And as we go through uh, into late in the week, it shifts more into the middle part of the country. And by late in this weekend and the first part of next week, we may start to see some record high temperatures in parts of the eastern United States. So basically, we're going to be watching for a warming trend in the eastern U.S. over the next. Stop sharing my screen here. Uh, After this cool stretch that will continue for the next several days, we should start to see some warmer conditions in the east. Severe weather wise, right now there's not any big severe weather risks for the next few days. Right now, the Storm Prediction Center just has some marginal risks out in a few spots around the country. It does look like as we get into the weekend and the first part of next week, we may start to see some risks of severe weather start to ramp up again. First, starting kind of in the northern plains, and then building south into more of the southern plains and parts of the Midwest potentially by next week, kind of associated with that signal for above normal precipitation that I was showing. So, like I said, just a quick update on what we're expecting as far as weather this week. I'll obviously have a more detailed write up of everything going on tomorrow and Wednesday, just to keep everybody up to speed on what's going on weather wise. I have the live chat up here. Anybody have any quick questions before I drop off? All right. Well, thanks everybody, and thanks for being a balanced weather subscriber. And we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.